In this video, we'll see about the standard output value. Now, what is standard output value says is, standard output says any property which has multiple values, you can get the values as an output, right? Now, for example, if you see on the sample application, I have this username, password and OK button. Now, this OK button is right now disabled. The enabled property which is that is false here. Okay, enabled is a property, object is as OK button and it is false. So, if I type something here in the username, see I am changing the data, this property is same. Again, if I type some password, this property has been changed. So, standard output value says is you keep on changing the data. Based on your data, I will tell you what is the property of the object. Okay. So, for that we use this standard object value itself. So, let us see how to work on that. So, what I will do is, instead of this username which is a text, if I type here number, still it is getting enabled, which is not valid. So, it is a defect again. So, if I say if I want to enter special characters as username, still it is getting enabled, right. So, this based on the username, that should be a text, only then it should be enabled, right. So, it should not accept the special characters, neither the numbers. Okay. If it accepts and the button is enabled, that is a defect again, right. So, let us see how I can keep a track on. I will insert multiple data into my username password, and based on that data, I will check the property of this object. That is nothing but standard output value. Okay. So, let us see that how do we work on that. Now, if you observe here, that is systemutil.run, I have written one line, that is a command to open the application. I have created the same test standard output value, so that it is easy to understand. Now, I will keep my cursor at some line and I will start recording from that location itself. I will click on this record button. I will not make any changes and I will click on OK, because I have already opened the sample application. So, I will open the sample application here. I will type some username. I will type, let us say, any text JOH, and I will type here some password, any password incorrect you can type here. Now, based on username password, I will just keep a track on this property, that is standard output value. How do I do it? Two methods. First method is in this toolbar. If you see the second last option, there is standard output value. You can select that standard output value. That is one method. Second method is you can go to this design menu bar. In that you have this output value and there is given as standard output value. So, you can select any one of them. I will click on this standard output value and I will click on this OK button. After that, it has selected and you can just click on this OK. It says OK button has many properties: height, width, text, you have the X position, Y position, anything. So, which property you want to keep a track on? It is possible to select multiple properties since it has a checkbox. So, I will select here as enabled property only. Okay, that is right now given as true. It says the property which you are capturing will be stored into data table, global sheet, name of the column is OK enabled out. That is the name of the column. I will say yes, okay, fine, I am happy with that. I will just click on OK. And finally, I do not want to go to the next page, I will just click on cancel. Okay. So, clicked on cancel and then you can click on stop. Okay. So, recording is stopped here. Now, if you observe standard output value, I have selected one column, okay, one property, one column, two properties, two column, three properties, three column. So, I have selected one property, I have got one column. But if I execute, I will get the same answer, right? That is the value given as true. So, what I will do is I will try to input multiple data. Okay. So, multiple data means parameterization. And how do we use parameterization? The shortcut method is view menu bar, keyword view. What will I parameterize? I will parameterize the username and the password, two things. I will give 4 username, 4 passwords. So, I will just click on this agent name, okay, click on this configure button and I will click on this data table here, add new parameter, and the name of the parameter I will give the name of the column as agent name, okay, and I will click on OK. Similarly, I will parameterize this password, click on this password, data table, and I will give the name as password and click on OK. So, password and username both are added here. I will remove this JOH. This is a new defect which is added into UFT. It gives the data in the double quotes, which is not actually valid. you should give something like that. Type any data. If this is in the encrypted form, I can just type any simple text. Okay, I can type my name, I can type here same name, which is invalid. And if I keep something as, let's say, both as blank, okay, yeah. How did I put as blank? I have put as space, okay, in username password and pressed enter. So it created a blank row. If you see, the data is nothing but a row is created here. It will go for how many iterations? 4 iterations. My data is in the global sheet and 4 iterations. Now my only job is to click on run button. So for this output, what I'll get the enable property as true. For the last one, I should get the enabled property as false. Let us see that. I'll just click on this run button. Click on this run button. So now if you observe, the data will keep on going, and if you see, that's a value which is entered here. Okay, the property value. If you see the last one, it says as false. So based on the input data, the property value also changes. Okay, so that is given here. But if you want to go back, right, if I want to go back to that place, action, if I go to this data table, you see the entire column is blank. The first one is given because that was the default first time which was there. So the rest of the entire column is, blank. So how do I get the values? You have to go to the test results, this place in the results plane, and I can just go to this place where it was iteration 2, okay, and I'll try to find out the value. That was the standard output value, yeah. So standard output which was given as, so if you see here, standard output data enabled is given as false here. If I see the same property, if I go on the top of this standard, so here it was false. If I click here, and if you see here, that's the output data which is given as captured value which is given as true. So this way you can keep on capturing standard output values, maybe different properties, X position, Y position, text, it can be enabled, focus, anything. And I hope you are able to understand the standard output values, and that's all for this video.